Corner Cuba, watch them spin out of control as the world burns down, and I'm just trying to keep a crown I don't even have yet. I'm just trying to make mad.
Let me just demonstrate what it is to be myself, what it is to heal myself. Used to not feel myself, but now I just be myself. Therapy. You touched on a lot right there, brother, and I call that the tipping point, right? When it's almost like you're on a seesaw where life is like this, and then you balance for a second, but then you reach what I call the point of no return, right? I have the date for me, July 13, 2007, was that moment for me where I knew there was no going back, and all I was gonna do is dig deeper and deeper till I fall out of the sky in China, so to speak, right? And you said you had that awakening between 8th and 9th grade, which is intense, and you know, like you said, you were offered the red or the blue pill, and you chose the non-conformist pill. You chose, like, you dipped a toe in the water like I did. You went through the systems. You were like, let me try this college thing. Let me try this job route. Let me try this thing. But what I see and what we were building on when you first came in was just carving our own lane, being niche, and like, as I say, going to the casino, and if you're 35 black, you bet everything on that because you know it's you, right? What do you think was the reason you knew that you hit a point of no return? What was it that snapped in you, that triggered in you, that didn't leave to this day and will carry you on to that? Because I think so many people don't find that. And when you found that, of course, life gave you trials and tribulations through your youth and now your young adulthood, still giving you that, right? But how it kind of gives you something to hold on, like a foundation. So was there a particular moment or experience that you were like, nah, I'm at the point of no return? And since you've walked on the road and faced all the challenges, whether it meant leaving school, getting out of the conventional way of thinking, that give you the ability to be like, yo, even though shit ain't good all the time or shit ain't easy, I'ma still rock on this. Because you said something really deep, till death, you know, which just means like when something's greater than your own life, that's what purpose is. So how did you align to that purpose? How do you stick on the road?
It really wasn't that difficult for me at the time because I think you gave me the discovery of there was a choice. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know there was a fork until you know, they presented you in front of me and my classmates, and so there was a program. Which real quick I want to touch on.
Please.
It's real unfortunate that schools and like systems are not funding programs like this because if I hadn't met why, like I really do not know where I've been. Like I know people who, you know, they don't really have anything else, and like, you know, not to exaggerate that, I know people that's on the streets or just like stuck in that college like that, don't know what they're doing with their life. Like me, I sleep well at night knowing I know what I'm doing, you know, and it just. Yeah, I just wanted to touch on that real quick because it's real important. If they didn't, it was unfortunate. A few years later, they just stopped. Like
the program was defunded.
It's not even in my school anymore. So imagine how many me's are in my school right now who don't have you right now. You know what I mean? Like I think about this a lot because that was just like that was really divine intervention, man. That I found you and you just helped me discover I had a choice. But it really wasn't hard, man. Just knowing, cause I don't know, man. I feel like the school system and just socially, like, I was an awkward kid. Like, it hasn't been kind to like kids like me. You know what I mean? So I didn't really want to do like baseball stuff like that, or just I didn't want to go to college. Like, I wasn't like an A student. Like, it's I was fortunate enough to find I joke around like, you know, people say, oh, there's too many rappers now. I don't think there's enough rappers, you know what I mean? Like, I think there isn't enough people
dancing to the beat of their own drum.
Yeah,
you know,
just you know, like, there's just not people, because I feel like hip hop is a renaissance thing, man. Like, it's still unfolding, even 40 years after. It's still unfolding. Like, just people like that are just, what's that term, going against the grain? Like, we need people like that because as you can see from today with everything going on, like, and that's been going on since the beginning of time, things need to change constantly for people to for there to be some type of peace and sanity, you know what I mean? Or insanity that, you know, bring us to something higher in society. You know, I don't know if that makes sense, but
nah, it makes perfect sense, bro.
Like this, I don't know, man. It's this choice. To answer your question, choice was real simple, but it's so much more complex than that. Like just that click. There's so many other, you know, buttons on the board that need that click, because you don't.
Yeah.
This society is just like it's sandpaper on everybody right now. Like it's just, it's not. It's a scary sight, man. Like. I just know so many people in the same position as me that didn't, like, you know what I mean? Like,
wow.
Look at, like, I barely graduated. I flunked out of college, like.
Yeah.
But the thing that kept me hanging was the music. Like, I don't care because I know.
The purpose.
Yeah, I know my purpose. But imagine people who the same situation as me but don't have that. You know what I mean? That
exposure, that reference of seeing it, right, and touching it and experiencing it. Wow, you're hitting into a great point. Because that's why I got into the work, and I'm gonna tell a story about this man, particularly low key or high key now. I always felt the need to go back and do this work because I was looking for the younger me's. Just exactly what he said. It was like, I know there's people like me. They're not gonna fit into the societal structures. School is not going to be their thing. A 9 to 5 is not gonna be their thing. And also following art in the cliche way. You know, I don't try to go there and help people become me. I hold up a mirror and ask questions as to why, to allow people to find themselves. You know, like we was jamming today. You know, I'm off the top cannon. I write too. And, you know, I ask people to come as they are, not to be another version of me. And what happened in going back through it after 4 years, I kept trying to fit my ideas in there. And Daniel, low-key, was one of the people that fired me. And I remember, I'll never forget this, it was the graduation ceremony for, I think, the era where, particularly, it was Lolly, Matthew, that year, right?
2 grades above.
The 2 grades above. And Daniel had brought me back, and we were, you know, kicking it in, like, the art lounge in the back of the auditorium where we used to do our shows. And I remember, like, the group coming up to me, and they were like, yo, don't come back next year. Don't come back. Like, leave. And I was like, yo. Because I was hiding behind stability, right? Even within the nonprofits, you know, I was getting paid $100 an hour. But at the same time, this music was in me. This art was in me. Something greater was in me. And the same way that they were graduating from these programs and finishing the run that we had, I graduated with them. And that's when I considered that they became mentors to me. Because if it wasn't for conversations that I had with this man when he was just in high school, maybe 16 years old, you know, that's what pivoted me out of leaving these organizations and starting Creative Expressions and founding something greater. Because I realized the change couldn't happen within those walls, right? The oppressor is never going to free the oppressed. So it becomes this cipher, this true ecosystem, this energy exchange. You have a discernment to be like, not everything is for me, you know what I mean? And really what I say, doubling down on staying in your lane and figuring out your sound and knowing who's the right energies to collaborate with. Where